So this video is Integrated 3, Chapter 2, warm-up number 1 for those who needed any help on this. So when we are factoring, and you notice that you have basically a square minus a square, you want to be thinking of difference of two squares. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the square root of the front term, and you're going to take the square root of the back term. So the square root of a squared is a. The square root of b squared is b. So what's going to happen is we are going to have two factors with an a and a b. One of them is going to be a plus and one of them is going to be a minus. That's what is always going to happen. So I am going to be looking at 36x squared, and the square root of 36x squared is 6x. I'm going to be looking at the square root of 169. The square root of 169 is 13. So my answer is going to be 6x plus 13 times 6x minus 13. That is the answer. On number 2, I notice that if I'm looking at my 2, my 12, and my 32, all of those I can factor a 2 out of. So I'm going to factor out a 2, and then I'm going to be left with x squared plus 6x minus 16. Then I need to say, can I take the square root? Can I factor that? X squared plus 6x minus 16. Now you might think of it as a as a perfect square because there's a square in the front and the back, but it's not a plus 16, it's a minus 16. So this is one that's just going to be a plain old diamond. So I'm going to ask myself, is there anything that multiplies to negative 16 and adds to 6? And I'm thinking positive 8, negative 2. So do not forget to bring the 2 down because that is still going to be a factor. And then I'm going to get an x plus 8, x minus 2 for my answer. On C, this one is going to be one of the differences of two cubes, where I have a cube minus a cube. And when that is the situation, what you're going to do, let me just kind of move this. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to take the cube root of the first term, which is going to be an a, minus, take the cube root of the second term, which is a b. Then you're going to look at this a and you're going to square it. You're going to change the sign. Since this was a minus, this is always going to be the opposite, so it's a plus. Multiply these two terms together, this a and b, and then you're going to square a negative b, which is going to be a b squared, and that is going to be the answer. So what I need to do is I need to look at this and figure out, well, what is the cube root of this? Well, that is a 4x that was being cubed minus a 1 that was being cubed. So my a and b, this is my a, this is my b. So now I'm going to think about that formula. So I am going to have it be a 4x minus 1. And then I'm going to square this first term, this 4x term, which is going to be a 16x squared. This is a minus, so this is going to be the opposite. It's going to be a plus. I'm going to multiply 4x and 1 together, and I get a 4x. And then I'm going to square a negative 1, which is 1. And that's your answer. Now, the next section, we're solving quadratics, actually polynomials, I should say. And on the first one, what I notice is that it's equal to 0. Okay, that's what we want. And I'm going to see, can I factor anything out? So I can factor out a 2x squared from this. And I am going to be left with a 15x. I'll just move this back. A 15, I apologize, minus 2x. So now by the zero product property, I have this times this gives me 0. So either this has to be 0, which means 2x squared equals 0, and I'm going to solve, or this needs to be 0, which is a 15 minus 2x equal to 0, and I solve. For this first one, I'm going to divide by 2 and get x squared equals 0. I'm going to take the square root, and when I take the square root of 0, I get 0. For the other part, I am going to add 15. Actually, I'm going to add 2x. That way that stays positive. I'm going to add 2x. And then I'm going to divide by 2. So I get 15 halves, or 7.5. And those are my answers. On B. So again, this is equal to 0. And I'm going to see if this is factorable. So let's see if I can do a box to diamond and factor. Let's see, 5x squared and a negative 6. That's going to be a negative 30x squared. And can I have something multiplied to a negative 30x squared and add to that negative 7x? And I'm thinking negative 10x and positive 3x. Negative 10x and positive 3x. So now I want to figure out first, what gave me this 5x squared? That's where I want to start. And so for that, that is going to be a 5x times an x. 5x times negative 2 gives me the negative 10x. X times a positive 3 will give me the 3x. So I'm going to have a 5x plus 3 times an x minus 2 equals 0. And then I'm going to set both of those factors to 0. So 5x plus 3 equals 0. And x minus 2 equals 0. This one, I'm going to get 5x is equal to a negative 3. X is going to be equal to a negative 3/5. This one's going to be x equal 2. Those are the answers.